As we read and research about reading, we also notice that reading strategies such as determining importance or synthesizing information help students as they read for information, particularly in social studies and science content areas. Comprehension came to mean more than merely acquiring knowledge as well. Isabel Beck and others define a constructivist view of understanding as being able to explain information, connect it to previous knowledge, and use information. Comprehension means that readers think not only about what they are reading, but what they are learning. When reading constructs meaning, they are building their store of knowledge. But along with knowledge must come understanding. Howard Gardner, a Harvard psychologist, states simply, "The purpose of education is to enhance understanding." The goal of comprehension is to construct meaning. Students will be able to enhance their understanding, acquire and use their knowledge, monitor their understanding, and develop insight. There are many instructional frameworks that aid in teaching comprehension. The strategy being focused on in this video will be Collaborative Strategic Reading, or CSR. CSR is a framework originally designed to aid students at risk and those with learning disabilities to understand text used in content areas. This instructional framework is a good example of the focus on using comprehension strategies to understand all text. CSR was developed as a means to achieve several goals. One is to provide students at risk and with reading and learning disabilities access to content area instruction. Second was to focus on providing opportunities for students to access the general education curriculum, particularly in expository texts such as social studies and science. And thirdly was to develop a practical procedural practice that classroom teachers could implement that would be inclusive of the research we have done about reading comprehension and cooperative groups and put it together in a way that was feasible for classroom teachers to implement. The purpose of CSR is to teach students 4 specific comprehension strategies they can use with all the information and expository texts that they read. In CSR, students in cooperative learning groups move through 4 cards based on the 4 key comprehension strategies to read and understand their text. First, students use the preview card to look for the key features of the text, brainstorm what they already know about the topic, and predict what they will learn about the topic when they read the text. Students use their CSR learning logs to record this information and to share it with their groups. Now, if my role in the group were to be the leader, before reading, I might use my card to ask these questions or explain these statements. We know that today's topic is, let's brainstorm and write in our learning logs everything we already know about the topic. Who would like to share their best ideas? Now let's predict. Look at the title, pictures, and headings, and think about what it is we might learn today. Write your ideas in your learning logs. Next, students read a passage from the text looking for clunks and clicks. This is monitoring when they come across a word or concept or idea that they do not understand, which would be the clunk. Clunk cards, or short prompts on individual cards, are reminders for students of strategies that they can use to help them figure out the meaning of misunderstood words or concepts. A clunk card might look like this one. What do I do when I don't know a word and it doesn't click? 1. You could read the sentence with the clunk and look for keywords. 2. You could read the sentence with the clunk and think about the word that makes sense. 3. Reread the sentences before and after the clunk, looking for clues. And 4. Reread the sentence with the word that you think makes sense. Does it fit? If I were the clunk expert, I might have a cue card that looks like this one. And I could ask my group members, what is your clunk? Does anyone know the meaning of the clunk? And you can go from there. At the end of the passage, students use the Get the Gist card to determine the most important ideas in the passage. The process is then repeated for the next passage. Now, if I were the Get the Gist expert in my group, my job would be to remind my group members of the steps to follow when figuring out the main idea for each section or paragraph in the text. I might ask my group, what is the most important idea we have learned about the topic so far? It is important that when getting the gist, you help your group and one another to identify only the most important information while leaving out the minor details. The gist that you should be able to get would be in 10 words or less. After an entire text is read, students use the wrap-up card to help them generate a list of questions with answers that show what they understood and the most important information in the text. Cards like these might be great for the group leader to use when helping its group wrap up. The teacher introduces CSR to students by first teaching it to the whole class. Through modeling and think-alouds, the teacher shows students how each of the 4 key comprehension strategies is used. After students are proficient in the use of individual strategies, the teacher models how to use all 4 together when reading text. Eventually, students are divided into small, mixed-ability groups to practice collaborating with using the strategies in reading and understanding a particular text. If you think that you would like to implement CSR in your classroom as a comprehension reading strategy framework, I recommend completing the interactive module at the link shown on the screen.